Could use your car as a little bit of shelter if need be in an emergency. How's it looking outside?
I just walked out there. It's pretty icy, guys. It's really light, but everything it's touching, I was touching our chairs and our patio, they're all coated already with the glaze. It's not taking long. And this is our camera. The top of the show, I could see Charlotte. Now it's completely crusted in ice. Now this is about, I think it's about 300 some feet above our station. So that's a little bit off the ground, but anything elevated that's surrounded by the air is completely coated in ice right now, and this is going to continue. And if anything, it's going to accelerate here over the coming hours as we see more ice. And you can see the temperature. I mean, I was mentioning this earlier. I really have never seen it this cold with freezing rain. We're upper teens, low 20s, and there's a whole bunch. It's actually picking up. So in the next couple of hours, I think we said midnight was when we expected it to get really heavy. That's kind of working out. It started late. It didn't really start as sleet. It did in a few spots, but it changed to freezing rain quicker. But the timing of the heavier, more consistent, and the radar's not doing it justice. I will tell you this, because a lot of times people say, hey, it's raining at my house, it's not on the radar. This is going to be one of those situations because it's not showing up very well.
Hey, Brittany.
There was a giant Brittany that just went by there. Yeah, but what's happening is this is forming so close to the ground. The freezing level is really close. So the layer of cold air is probably only about 1,000 feet thick, and the radar beam is up around 4,000 or 5,000 feet, so it's overshooting a lot of it and just missing it.
All right.
So it's not showing up on the radar. But trust me, if it looks like it's just light, don't let your guard down because it is glazing. It's almost like instant ice. It's almost worse than when it's heavy because you can see it.
Hi, everyone. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal with this special edition of your weather impact alert coverage, an extended version now of what we've been doing here for the past, several hours. Meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees now in the Live Impact studio. All right, Brittany, you and me, we're going to just, bring this to the end here.
Well, technically, Jeff, our sweet producer, is sitting right next to me. Jane, we did our first hit at 3. So,
yeah, that's what I mean.
He was going
you guys
even
have been
earlier,
here forever.
So it's been quite a journey.
Might as well just round it up.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey, and I do want to remind people that this is not the worst of what we're going to see. We're going to see more areas of freezing rain and freezing drizzle overnight and into most of the day tomorrow. Tomorrow's high temperature, Brad and I actually adjusted a little bit colder, is only 30 degrees. So we are not going to get out of the freezing mark at all on Sunday. And then temperatures Monday barely get out of the freezing mark, but at least we will see some sunshine return. Let's talk about what's happening right now. I have some live cameras I want to show you first because Kannapolis has really been showing it. I think this is kind of a summary of what we're starting to see in some of these areas. You can see completely iced over. Brad, you were talking to Mike, one of our engineers. They do think the camera's frozen at this point.
Yeah, they're trying to heat her.
Okay.
There's a thawing mechanism. We'll see how long it takes.
Okay, yeah. So we have some of our frozen cameras. So Kannapolis is frozen. One of our Monroe cams is frozen. We're starting to see the same thing from our WCNC tower cam. The reason why this is important, folks, is that these cameras that we're seeing that are frozen are facing northward versus our southward facing cameras are not, which is just showing you the way that the moisture is moving. Kannapolis right now, Dallas, we're pretty much in the clouds there. We're not seeing a thing because that's all freezing drizzle. And then I'm going to go to our Monroe camera. So again, you can see how it's frozen over at this point. And really these cameras were the only way that Brad and I even knew that we were already seeing freezing rain, because remember, you guys are our ground truth. The reports you've been sending in from MPing, the app that Brad told many of you to download, and from what we're seeing on pictures and videos that folks are sending in, that's pretty much the only way that we were able to ground truth confirm that this was going on. Precipitation types, again, you can see areas of sleet, snow mixing in north, but we are starting to see a much better grasp on some of that sleet and freezing rain mixing in again for area south. But notice the temperatures at this point, folks. We have snow falling from the upper levels of the atmosphere. Okay, this time of year pretty much everything falls to snow originally, and then we have a big warm nose, so a big warm layer in the mid levels of the atmosphere, and that's what's melting all of that snow. But previously we were talking about how we thought that it would refreeze into sleet first, right, and eventually transition to freezing rain overnight. Well, this happening so much earlier means that pretty much everything that's falling at this point is going to stay freezing rain. And so it's kind of a 1-2 punch of a question mark as to whether or not we'll see less accumulation because it's starting later, or we see less accumulation because it's just freezing drizzle at this point. But think about it. Freezing drizzle, tiny little water droplets, barely you can see. That freezes on contact with the ground versus freezing rain, which is a little bit heavier, you can actually see. So sometimes it can catch you off guard. And we know that a lot more moisture is coming in from the south and west, a lot more cold air still lingering there. And so as the atmosphere continues to moisten up, expect more sleet, more freezing rain tomorrow. Brad adjusted some of these numbers again to coincide with the fact that we're not expecting temps to get out of the upper 20s and lower 30s. So that's going to keep us cold all day long. I mean, this is going to be brutal. Even for areas that won't actively be watching rain fall from the sky, we are bitterly cold already, temps in the 20s. And again, a high temperature of 30 degrees is nothing to play around with. On the backside of the system, again, we also know it's going to be bitterly cold, and we'll be dealing with pretty gusty winds too. So ice is already starting to fall. I'll leave you with one quick look at the map. At this point, the map, not that it's not important, but it's less important because we know that the Charlotte metro area, I-85 corridor north, is expected still to see the worst accumulation. That's the reason why we have this ice storm warning in effect. Started tonight, goes until Monday, again for dangerous roads and scattered power outages. Now, something we'll be watching again tomorrow, and Chris will be in with Becca in the morning, Majestic out in Storm Tracker. Brad and I will be back same time, same place tomorrow. But one of Brad and my biggest concerns, since we, of course, have been working together, for 5 years, but in this case of this storm, for the last few days, is that it's not just the ice, it's not just the cold, it's also what happens after. The gusty winds are going to be very, very noticeable. I'm actually going to pop out of here for a second because my pause point went away. Notice Monday afternoon, we're looking at wind gusts 25 to 30 miles an hour. That is going to prolong any power outages potentially that already happened. It could also increase the chance for a power outage in a spot that maybe hasn't. Mountain communities will be looking at about 45 at a maximum. And then we actually are still gusting into 20 to 25 on Tuesday afternoon. So that could be prolonged on top of the ice, on top of the cold. We could also be very, very gusty. That will eventually lead, you could probably guess what I was going to say, to futurecast wind chills. We're looking at bitterly cold, single-digit teen wind chills Tuesday morning, even actual air temperatures in the single digits, even right here in Charlotte, areas up toward the mountains, the foothills, 10 to 20 degrees below zero for what it feels like. And again, the actual air temp in Charlotte, while it'll feel closer to 4 degrees, the actual air temperature forecast is for 8 degrees. So it's going to be no joke. Cold air continues Wednesday and again on Thursday. So this is going to be a bitterly cold stretch. Dairy Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. I mean, something that you're lacking in our 7-day is any high temperature above 40 degrees and any low temperature above 27. This is going to be a very, very cold stretch. So again, even things that we do see are going to struggle to melt. Now, I am cautiously optimistic on Monday afternoon that with sunshine, we will see some melting. But again, when you have an 8-degree low, that means a potential for a refreeze, not just Tuesday morning, but 16, 18, 13, 16. Those are the orders of the additional lows Wednesday through Saturday. So this could be a prolonged issue. Brad, of course, will have a few more updates for you over the next few hours. Then we'll head home again, let Chris and Becca take over, and then we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Best thing I can do right now, folks, is encourage you to continue to stay weather alert. Stick with our team. I know sometimes weather coverage can be extensive, right? And kind of feel like we're throwing so many things at you at the same time, but it's all trying to keep you safe. So remember that. We'll get through it together. And our team will be here essentially around the clock, whether it's on air or on streaming on WCNC Plus, which you're watching right now, so you know where it is.
That's right. We just want to spread the word, too, because people who are just watching, as we've been watching other parts of the country, they're also watching now what happens to us as this storm is
my
here.
Parents, my parents in Florida, my best friend's parents who are in Orlando, like they've been watching because, people are curious, especially people that maybe don't get storms like this. And even Brad the other day, Jane, I think you were there too, he was talking about even just in his experience, 23 years of covering winter storms in the Carolinas, he hadn't seen a storm like spread this far, Jane. I mean, Arizona, New Mexico, all the way to Maine. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to grasp. And then when you see that picture from space, and it really just covers the whole country. And then some others are saying, this is not really a big deal. Are we just being worrywarts?
I think that it's a good reminder that people who are from other parts of the country, nothing against Ohio people, but I have a lot of Ohio friends here, and the initial reaction was, well, I know how to handle it, I'm from XYZ, but you have to remember it's a different city, different people who are from here, or who live here might not have ever been through a storm like you might have, and it's just that's a different city landscape. I mean, it's nothing against Charlotte, because Charlotte's the best city
fantastic,
in the country,
right.
But different cities have different infrastructure, and so you can't expect like the same exact reaction from people who live here. And I'll remind you that if you ever think that it's crazy here in Charlotte when it's just raining, let's think about freezing that rain.
Yes, exactly. Great reminder. And it's worth, one holding on to, especially through tomorrow, for tomorrow. I mean, once I leave here, I'm going to stay put and just kind of hunker down through tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, Brittany Van Voorhees, thank you so much for coming into the Live Impact studio. Get some rest. We're going to need your energy tomorrow as well, because it's all happening. It's happening right now. All right, shall we take a break, or is Miles ready? Let's go ahead and take a 2-minute break. We're going to regroup. We're going to check in Union County after this. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back into Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Time right now is 11:41 p.m. on a Saturday night. We are keeping you covered with this Live Impact weather and staying weather alert. Want to check now with Union County and Monroe. Our Miles Harris holding it down, staying chill. You're so cool, literally. And you got all the tools and, things to keep you as warm as you can, I suppose, Miles.
Oh, I got my hand warmers, Jane. Don't you worry, and they're waiting in the car for me right now. But let's talk about some of the impacts that we are already kind of seeing, or at least feeling when it comes to the winter weather that we've been talking about really all week. So out here in Monroe, as you can see my breath here, obviously the temperatures have been dropping here hour by hour as we've been out here. But it's also very windy out here. It's very dry. It's not raining at the time, but we've been showing you throughout the evening just how windy it is outside. If you look just across the street, it's a dealership, but pay close attention to the flags on the other side of the street over there. You see how those are waving around here? That's just showing you how windy it is and how it feels even colder than even maybe the temperatures are showing. If you're looking on your phone, maybe you're looking at the monitor on your TV right now as well. And it's not just the wind that we're talking about here. Move forward here, take a closer look. Look at the road conditions right now. Again, it rained around 9, 10 o'clock this evening. It's not raining right now, but you can really start to kind of see just how glossy the roads are. And we are starting to kind of still see a couple of cars making their way across the roadways here, but curious to see exactly what impacts it'll look like here overnight, as we might see more of that precipitation that we have been able to see earlier on in today. And it's not just the roadways here. Take a look here, Jane, like you mentioned it here. We do have some tools looking and seeing just how quick this rain that we saw here is freezing and really turning into ice. So right in front of me here, it's a box. It's a hot box, but just take a listen here. You can see that gloss, but listen to me as I try to scrape through this as well. So that's probably very similar to how it might look or feel on the roadways here and some of the conditions that we might start to see overnight and into tomorrow and even in the days after that as well. Now when it comes to Union County, they have made a couple of adjustments as well. They have opened up their Monroe Middle School as a shelter. They have partnered with the American Red Cross in trying to make sure they have a warm, safe place for people that may not have electricity, that may not have a place or a roof over their head to kind of stay warm or be kind of deal and brace for these very cold temperatures. And they do remind people two things to keep in mind. If you are going to go to the Monroe Middle School as that shelter that they have provided for people in this community, bring blankets, bring food, bring anything that you can, and also brace to be there for multiple days. We're really not sure what the impacts could look like, not just tonight, not just tomorrow, but really all throughout the week into next week as well, as we try to keep track of the conditions when it comes to this winter weather, this ice storm that we're kind of keeping a close eye on right now. But Jane, I can just tell you right now, it is very, very cold out here.
Miles, you are a stud for hanging out late, bringing us the latest there out of Union County. Appreciate you. Thaw out now. You've been cleared. Thank you so much. I cleared you. All right, let everybody know. All right, Miles, take it easy. Oh man, it is windy, and so we want to talk about that as well as this ice, Brad, and it's all here now. We've been waiting for this moment. We've been talking about it all week.
Yeah, this is it seems like things went downhill for the Charlotte area within the last hour. It went quick. Our camera went from being able to see uptown to completely ice covered. I know Brittany showed you. The thing that blows my mind, Jane, is how cold it is. Like, I don't think I at least here, and I'm rare in any other place I lived, even growing up in the Midwest, have I seen freezing rain at temperatures this low. Because usually when the temperature is this cold, you don't have warm enough air above your head to make it freezing rain. It's going to be sleet or snow. This really shows how cold it is at the ground, but how warm it is above our heads. I'll show you our WCNC camera. Our engineers, we apparently have heaters on these. We're trying to turn them on. I don't know if it's working. But you can see that's ice. And you remember, Jane, the top of the 11, we could see this. Yeah. So this has only been 45 minutes.
And it's still no melting.
No
melting.
I think it's gotten worse.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, this is the kind of situation that it's so cold. I don't think the little heating element. Kannapolis, that's crusted over. We're not been able to get that one unfrozen for a while. And then Monroe's kind of weird. Oh, well, we had a view in the middle, but that's iced up as well. So let me show you what's going on. The radar does not do justice to this. I'm just going to let you know. The radar is not seeing all this because the droplets are so tiny that they're not being picked up or we're overshooting them. And it's certainly not sleet. Though I will see the snow. I thought this was kind of bogus too, but I just got a video from the Troutman area and up in Statesville, there's light snow falling there.
snowing.
There's light snow falling there. It's not super heavy, but it's very light. So there is some snow mixing in north. But in Charlotte, okay, let's look, it's 21 degrees. Okay, that is 11 degrees below freezing. So you can imagine if you have very light mist or drizzle that's liquid, it is freezing on contact. And remember, all day today, it was only in the low 30s with cloud cover. So the surfaces, like the benches, the trees, the roads, they're super cold. So it's already refrigerated or chilled. Only way I can describe this is if you had a mister and you were spraying it inside a freezer, like what you would see happen with that. It would ice up everything quickly. And 19 in Gastonia, by the way, which is super cold on top of that. One thing I've been watching, Jane, is it's kind of another way to crowdsource what's going on with the weather. I look at the traffic and see where the roads are slowing down. There's not a lot of people out there, so when the Google traffic maps slow down, I know that means the roads are probably getting slick, okay? And I could see this happen from north to south. I-40, 77, 85, 321 coming into Charlotte all turned yellow about 2 hours ago. Now in Mecklenburg County, parts of 85, 77, especially out towards the airport, 45, that is all slowed down as well. And there's a couple accidents starting to show up. So it's 11:47 at night. There's not a ton of people out. So the fact that there's this many slowdowns and accidents tells you the roads are getting icy. And my guess is, and this is probably worse than it being a downpour right now, is people probably don't think it's icy. They just think, oh, it's misty out. It doesn't look that bad. So they're driving at full speed. They hit a bridge or an overpass, and all of a sudden, it's a sheet of ice, and they're sliding all over. And it doesn't matter what kind of car you have, you're not going to be able to maneuver. So let's take a quick look at the forecast. What do we expect the rest of the night, Jane? I will show you here. So don't look at the purple. It's all freezing rain. Look at the temperatures, though, because that's how cold it is. Freezing rain actually gets heaviest. You believe it or not, the worst of this is coming later tonight and early tomorrow morning. Freezing rain all night, all morning, through the middle of the day. Hopefully we'll get back to the station tomorrow. My goal is to try to get back here, but that's about the time. There's probably going to be pretty thick ice. And if we're going to see power outages, this is the time frame I expect it, tomorrow afternoon and evening, because by then we would have had 20 hours of ice buildup, and then we're also going to see some wind. So tonight, I don't expect power outages tonight because it's too light right now. It's going to take time for that weight to build up. And so tomorrow night would be the time that we start to see that. And then the temperatures get really cold on the backside. So we can look at the next 2 days. This is like my 48-hour forecast here. We're in the low 20s all night tonight, upper teens, freezing rain through the morning, freezing rain all day tomorrow. And then as we get into Monday morning, it looks like after midnight things start to clear out, and we'll see the sun maybe above freezing temperatures sometime on Monday. So if you're looking for some relief, it may not come till Monday afternoon right now.
Monday afternoon, at least we're going to get above it, and then again, that risk is to
the refreeze. Yeah. So, and that might be a reoccurring thing every day this week, where we thaw out in the middle of the day and then refreeze at night. So that's an area that we definitely are going to have issues. I think at the very minimum, I bet there'll be delays every morning or closures in some instances because of the refreeze every night. And that's if we still have power. Who knows? We don't know the power situation then, because we think there'll be power outages, but it's like I have to tell people all day, they want to know, will my house lose power? I can't tell you that. We're not that good at it. It's hard to tell, but somebody will lose power. There's not, 1,800 Duke power crews here? They're not here for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. We hear that they're fanned out, and we thank them, and thank you, Brad.
Yeah.
All right, take it easy out there, because the ice is here. We want to check in now into Winston-Salem area, and looks like Lauren Tear is joining us live. It looks cold, and I don't want to say snow. Is that sleet then, Lauren?
I think it's snow. I'm going to show you what I've got
Good,
in my
it's
hand
snow.
here. If you can see it, it's pretty powdery, right? It's not packing snow. It's snow. I think it's snow, which is interesting because all day we've seen freezing rain and even some sleet here in Winston-Salem. But I would say within the last maybe hour and a half, it started to become this pretty snow. And it's like these little tiny snowflakes. I've been equating it to glitter in the air. in the rest of our hits. So it is starting to dust the ground though here in Winston-Salem. I want you to take a look at the road right here. We are on an overpass over 421. This is right next to downtown Winston-Salem. You can probably see it. There is that white dusting and it is accumulating. One thing that's been really interesting since we've been out here, these roads have been pretty quiet. I'm gonna knock on wood here. We're actually parked over on the side of the road and we've had a couple different police cars pull up and ask if we were doing okay. Yes, sir, we're just out here doing the news. But in talking to them, I asked them, you know, what has it been like for you guys who are on the call and responding to any emergencies? And they said the same thing. It's been pretty quiet. They think that people are probably just heeding those warnings, staying smart, staying off the roads. And from what we can tell, I mean, it would be hard to tell if this was icy or not. So why chance it, right? You know, we can see the snow and earlier they were wet. Of course, now it's between, I want to say 10 and 15 degrees. So it's real cold here in Winston. Like I said, right now we're just seeing some snow, but definitely it seems like most people up here are heeding those warnings and staying off the roads for the most part. Live in Winston-Salem, back to you guys.
Lauren, thank you for braving the elements and showing us. Yes, and Brad is saying that it is indeed some snow. So appreciate you showing us that. Get some warmth, run in. Take care. All right, so let's go ahead and bring back in Brad now because, Brad, I mean, what are we thinking here? It's a kind of snow.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. When she was describing it, I knew exactly what she was talking about. So we got this cool graphic, Jeb. We'll show what it looks like. So snow doesn't take on the typical dendrite, which is the flake that you probably made as a kid cutting out in paper. It's kind of cool. Like usually we get needles or columns when the temperature where the snow is made, and this is happening closer to the ground than normal. It's not happening way up in the cloud. You get columns or needles, and the temperature where she was, 14 degrees. And look at the temperature to get hollow columns, which are basically, if you were to look at it, it looks like glitter. But if you look under a microscope or even a magnifying glass, these snowflakes would be like tiny little rods, if you will. And what happens when they land on the ground, they kind of stack up like pixie sticks or, straw or hay. They kind of lay on each other, so it's very fluffy. And this is because this is forming low in the atmosphere in this cold air near the surface. But where she was, 14 degrees. I mean, like I said, I don't think I've ever seen freezing rain this cold, and the kind of snow we're getting in this kind of cold with warm above is kind of a weird setup. So it makes for a very interesting phenomena. So what's happening and why aren't we getting snow, right? Like everyone's like, it's so cold outside. Well, it's got to be cold from the cloud all the way to the ground for us to get snow. What's happening here is we have really warm air above our heads. The students and the faculty over at UNC Ashe, the meteorology department, they've launched 3 weather balloons for us today, and I've been able to see the atmospheric profiles. And up around as low as 3,000 feet, the temperature is like 40-something degrees. And that warm layer is melting the snowflakes, and then below it, it's so cold, they're either trying to refreeze into a sleet pellet, or in this case, we saw that weird snow up in Winston-Salem. And in most cases, it's so warm above us and so cold at the surface. It's 40 degrees at 3,000 feet, and at 700 feet, it's 21 degrees. It's creating freezing rain, which is like the perfect setup for ice. If you want an ice storm, this is the perfect setup. I can't remember a setup this unique in quite some time, and that's why the ice is really picking up. And I'm looking at the reports, and we are getting snow reports from Hickory to Statesville to Salisbury, but around Charlotte and Rock Hill, they are both reporting freezing rain currently. So it seems like there is a little bit of snow mixing into the north, which is kind of where we thought we'd see a little snow earlier, but it's actually lasting a little bit longer, maybe because the air is just that cold, Jane.
Oh my goodness. So, where she is 14 degrees, there's no chance that, and it's only, why are we not getting any version of that?
So the cold air up there is a little bit deeper. Okay. So it's able, that warm layer is not as thick up there.
Oh, okay.
We call this the wedge, and I think sometimes when we say that, you think, well, what does that mean? If you think about a wedge, you ever see like a door stopper, which looks like a ramp? Mm-hmm. Okay, the leading edge of the wedge is like the point. That's really thin part of the cold air. As you get towards the thicker part of the wedge, the cold air is deeper. And the wedge comes from north to south. So we're at the thin part of that wedge. They're in the thick part of the wedge. And so the air is much colder than them up there. And that's why they're getting snow and we're getting ice down here.
So, yeah. So unfortunate for us, I guess,
It's
too.
but I want to say it's warmer. It's 20 degrees here, Jane. At midnight, it's 20 degrees. And when I saw these temperatures a couple of days ago, thinking, how are we going to have 20 degrees and freezing rain? I thought there's no way this will verify. And in some cases, we are trending colder than our forecast at the surface. So this is kind of a weird setup. I said this earlier in the 11 o'clock show. Every storm always surprises me, and I learn something different. And this one is really teaching us some new things tonight.
Yeah, and so now we're seeing the brunt of it, or the beginning.
Yeah.
The beginning of the beginning for several hours now, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a while. I just posted on my social media, like, stay off the roads because things are getting bad really quickly. There's those memes that escalating quickly. Things escalated quickly. This one did, okay?
Yep.
The Will Ferrell ones. It's escalating.
Yeah,
super
it started late, but then sort of it ramped up and made up for lost for a delayed beginning.
Yeah, the delayed beginning, I think, and that from a social science standpoint, that's always tough because then people think it's not happening. And
Exactly.
then they venture out, and then boom, this happened. The reason it's happened so quickly is the delay slowed it down, but also it was so much colder when this stuff started falling. So there was no chance of it. This isn't wet. The ground is not wet. I had several people say, hey, Brad, it's just raining. Trust me, it is not raining when it's 20 degrees outside.
Right.
That is thermodynamically impossible for that to be rain. That is freezing rain. That's the whole point. It is freezing on contact with the ground. So just good old-fashioned rain would have to be above 32 degrees. So we have a classic freezing rain setup right now.
All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to wrap things up here for special extended coverage of tracking the ice storm. That is just really the beginning of the beginning. Tomorrow, our weather impact team is going to start with you here on Live Impact News starting at 5 a.m. We have crews all over the Charlotte Metro. They will be checking in with us live. And then, Brad, when are you back in tomorrow?
Probably 3-4ish, probably at the same time, mid-afternoon.
Okay, mid-afternoon.
It's really going to probably play by ear, Jane, to see, because it probably is going to be a long trek to get back in here tomorrow.
Right, seriously. So we're going to keep you updated with this whole impact of this ice storm that is really going to be a shock to the system, literally and figuratively, to the Charlotte Metro and our all of our counties, our viewing area. If you do have, and if it's safe to do so, if you have pictures or videos, send it to us using the Near Me feature on this app that we thank you for downloading to your smart TV as well as your mobile devices in case you do lose power. And we just want you to stay safe. We don't want to put any panic or fear for your weekend, but